Right, hello and welcome to the next episode of the Austin 7 Special Build. So in this episode, I'm going to be making a start on my dashboard. I've gone and purchased some gauges. I'm currently getting the wood done on my steering wheel. So all of this is now finally starting to come together. In the last episode, I made my prop shaft tunnel and my remote gear linkage. So hopefully by the end of this episode, it's all starting to come together and going to be basically resembling the car. The goal for all of this is the 6th of September when the car is going to be displayed at the Haynes Motor Show for their Austin 7 special feature that they're putting on. So we're working really hard towards that. So hopefully you enjoy the process and journey and like what I'm about to do. Right then, the plan moving forward with the dashboard is this basically. This is the shape that I've ended up going for. And the reason I've ended up with this shape here is normally most dashboards would start right up by the scuttle and you'd have plenty of depth behind the steering wheel to get all your gauges in. Well, I don't, the way I've constructed this. So I've got to drop all my gauges below this framework here. So I've got plenty of room behind because some of the gauges are quite deep. I've added this little drop piece here. Purely because if I kept it pretty slim through there, I wouldn't get the bigger gauges that I want to use in. So hence why I've got this drop down piece. Whether it's period or not, I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% convinced on it, but it's the best shape that I've come up with so far. So it might be one of them things that grows on me, or I hate it when it's finished. But it's a piece of metal, it can all be changed at any given point. So I'm not too worried about it at this point. What I'm going to do is make a wooden former of this template, and then I'm going to start knocking it over and getting it all fixed in. So I'll show you the processes that I'm going to be using for that and how I'm going to create this dash. Right, so this is actually really simple. But before we get going, I just need to explain that this is a light for light pattern and it fits perfectly in that hole there. Now, if I use that pattern and put it directly onto the wood, cut it out and I use that as my former, the piece that we make won't fit in the hole, because effectively what we've done is if I'm using 2mm aluminium and then I knock it over my perfectly sized pattern, we've effectively added kind of like 4mm and then it's too big to go in. So I need to take at least 2mm off, maybe even a little bit more, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. And that's our material thickness that we're adding. So I will chop at least 2mm off all the way around. Now the bottom template needs to be pretty accurate because that is what we're effectively forming over. The top one is just a sandwich. So that can be like sandwich the material. So that can be quite a bit smaller. I'm going to make that probably about 20mm smaller. And that 20mm just allows me to get tight on that edge and make a really nice crisp joint. So what I've decided to do on this panel is anneal the edges, and I've used the soot from the oxyacetylene as a guideline. Now this burns off at around 600 degrees. That's a really good indicator for when your panel is going to be annealed. Now you don't need to anneal this, but if you've got access to it, it will make your life a lot easier. As you can see here, it's a really steady process and it's a really good indicator of when the panel is ready. Right, I've got that all clamped up, so I've just used the G-clamps to hold it tightly. I scribed the other side and lined it all up there. So I've put it on the sandbag, so I've got a good base. It's a little bit wobbly on that block, but be good enough. Now I've got lots of different mallets and hammers. Initially I'm going to start with a mallet, then I'll tighten it up with a hammer. But I've got lots of different ones for the internal corners, the exterior corners. I'm going to be stretching and shrinking. There's just lots of different processes. There's not one particular hammer that you're going to need for this process. I like to flick between lots of different ones and just find the one that's right for me at that point. So what I'm going to start doing is just knocking it over in certain points all the way, and that's going to hold the panel. Sometimes what people do is they go full steam ahead, start knocking it over on one side, and what that does is start drawing the material away. So you need to clamp it, basically knock it over in a couple of areas, and that anchors basically that material and stops it sliding. That's really important to do, otherwise you end up with one massive edge, not enough material on the other, but by the time you realise, it's too late. So that's the first thing I've got to do. Then I'll just start going around the edge, gradually knocking it all over before I really sort of tighten up those corners. Right, what I'm going to do now is just dress this edge up. I'm going to break it, which means I'm just going to knock it off to one side. Just kind of relaxes the panel. I can get in here with a nylon block and just dress it and make sure it's all nice and flat. And when I tap it back up, I can make sure it's all square, and just take this slight wobble that I've got throughout the edge of the material. That's normal. The material was soft that I was knocking it over. You could dress it completely flat if you put time into like a metal former, but I didn't feel the need for this project. Okay, I'm going to offer it up. I am going to have to tweak this a little more, but hopefully I can get that offered up. Yeah, so yeah, it's not too far away. Just got a couple of little gap here to close up. Let me just, oh no, it's not too bad in that corner. So what I'm going to do now, just adjust these gaps here, and I'm going to soften up the edges, and then I'll trim this edge down to size. Right, I've got both bits trimmed and yeah, looking good. They fit quite well. What I'm going to do now is add a couple of fixings just to stiffen that up so it always goes back into the same position and I don't have any movement. I now need to start thinking about gauge placement. So the 4 gauges that I'm definitely having are rev counter, speedo, oil pressure gauge and water temperature gauge. I will have a pull starter, an oil warning light, engine cut off, yeah, and there may be like a couple of other little switches, but there will be a flick switch for the lights. I'm not worrying about a headlight at the moment. I will have one at some point, but for the moment I'll worry about that later on down the line. So what I'm going to do is now sort of start laying out where I think the gauges should be. But before I do that, I'm going to show you the gauges that I purchased. I think they're pretty special. So yeah, let's see what you think. Right, so these are the gauges that I'm going for. These are reproduction Austin gauges with the fancy bezel, just like the Alters would have had. There's a company that make these. I haven't purchased the Speedo one at the moment because that's another £370, and I haven't got that type of money just yet. I think for the 4 gauges it works out at about £1,100, so very expensive purchase. The rev counter is electronic, and the Speedo is going to be a GPS, but they're all done in the style of like an Ulster. So I think with these 4 gauges, it's going to look really nice. You think with a nice dashboard, steering wheel, paint job, I think it's just going to really stand out with these. That's those 2 bits all sorted, and what I'm going to do now, I thought about this for a while, how to attack the next stage, but I'm going to start prepping the surfaces before I've cut these holes out, and I'm going to go for a polished aluminium finish. Now the gear knob is polished aluminium, the steering wheel that's back this week from the chap who's done the wood, that's all polished aluminium, so I'm going to go for a polished aluminium dash. That might change at the end, it might be a bit too leery, so we'll try it. But what I'm thinking is we'll prep this, polish it, and then cut these out. Now I might incur a bit of damage in the process, but it'd be easier to touch them areas up than actually try and polish all of this with the big cutouts, because sometimes in the polishing wheel it can grab, it can snatch, and it's not very pleasant. So I'm going to approach it that way. Right, it's now time to polish. So I've got that to about 1,000 grit, and that's come up really nicely. I've got a couple of little marks which are a little bit deeper, but I'm not too worried about that. Normally all my polishing I take to work and use the polisher that's on the stand, and I get some really good results from that. Obviously I'm not at work, it's a weekend, so I'm going to use this polishing attachment which goes onto your grinder. Now this is only cheap off eBay, comes with the polishing compound as well. Now I've had some really good results from that. All the slappers that I hand make and polish up, I use that to get the real nice finish. So I do know that it is capable of achieving that. I haven't used it on anything big like this before, so I'm intrigued to see how it's going to perform. If it doesn't turn out how I pictured it, I'll take it to work in the week and get that sorted. So in the end, I decided to bring the panel to work and give it a quick polish, and that brought it up to the standard that I actually wanted it to be. I then covered it in masking tape and then started cutting the holes out for the gauges. The Q-Max cutter I used was a couple of mil too small, so in the end I had to use the belt sander just to open them up a little bit. So very happy with how this has turned out. These are the pull starter and choke that I purchased that will fit in around here. You can use your imagination. Now I have got the steering wheel all finished up. I've had all the wood done, I've polished up all the centre, and if you've got Instagram you would have seen what that looks like already. But if you haven't got Instagram, then you're going to have to wait till the next episode, but I am editing that at the moment, so you'll be able to see it all finished off very soon. But I am getting all the fixtures and fittings in, just modifying all the bulkhead, so it is really starting to come together. Right, okay, so that brings us to the end of the episode. So that is the dashboard, let's say probably 90% complete. I've still got to put the gauges in, I've still got to put the pull start and the choke, a couple of switches for the lights and stuff like that. So yeah, still plenty to do, but at least it looks like a dashboard, and I've got something to show for when I take it to the show in September. So very happy with that so far. In the next episode, that'll be the steering wheel. So I started the steering wheel project a couple of years ago. So I've got lots of old footage, and it has sort of caught up with everything that I've done recently. So I'm piecing that together, and that episode should be out in the next couple of weeks. And that is pretty much it. I'm off to go and see Simon now, as we're going to borrow an engine off of him, get it into the car so I can finish off the exhaust. Again, when I take you to the show in September, it kind of resembles a finished car, or nearly a finished car, but that is where I'm off, literally straight after this video, to go and work with him on that project. So that is pretty much it. So cheers for watching, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.